Palm Tree, I'm back at it, man. I had to get up out that slump, and I am back to bring you a review for the new Alan Palomo album, World of Hassle. Been waiting on this one, man, for years. Here we go. First of all, who is Alan Palomo? He is the mastermind behind Neon Indian, which is an electronic, chill wave, alternative band that I am proud to call one of my favorite bands of the 20 teens. Now, if you have not done so already, you owe it to yourself to go back and check out the following albums from Neon Indian: Psychic Chasms, Era Extraña, and VEGA International Night School. On top of being a producer, vocalist, musician, and scoring films, he's also a filmmaker. This guy is super talented. He also has the bands VEGA, and even before this, Ghost Hustler. You might know Neon Indian from being on the Grand Theft Auto 5 soundtrack with the song Change of Coast, which was originally created for the game, and also the song Polish Girl from the Era Extraña album, which is also on the GTA 5 soundtrack. But I digress as I brag about one of my favorite musicians. So this album represents the rebranding. It's kind of like the end of the Neon Indian trilogy, and it starts again. But actually, if you listen to VEGA International Night School, and I recommend you guys go back and listen to those 3 albums I talked about already, if you haven't done so already. But if you listen to VEGA International Night School and then listen to World of Hassle, you will kind of find that sonically, it's very similar. In fact, it's almost like this back end side of that record from 2015. It's almost like it's a reimagination of that. But I think what makes this record incredible, World of Hassle, is that it's this combination of jazz, funk, and disco. And because some of the songs are in Español, it's this bilingual flavor that you don't really hear anywhere. And in some ways, it kind of seems like our boy Alan is stuck in the 80s, but it's like I also like it there because he's just, reviving this timeless nostalgia of a time where I wasn't even born yet, But let's get into some songs here that caught my attention. The opening track, The Wailing Mall, that intro is so dope. And the reason why I think it is because, he's rapping and he says it, takes place in 1994, even though the whole album obviously sounds 80s. But just that mall theme and that it's, brings me to this, vaporwave type of sound. And it just, sets your palette for so much nostalgia. It's just a spot-on intro. The next track, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, featuring that wonderful artist right there. Excellent, very disco vibes. I love that it flips into a different language. So there's just so much culture and so much richness in this project. Then I get to La Madrileña, which was such a good song. I come back to that song again and again and again. So groovy, such a good slow jam. Nudista Mundial 89 featuring Mac DeMarco is so fire. I love those little farty synths he's using on there, and I love Mac DeMarco's voice on the track. He just sounds like the announcer from Crazy Taxi. It's like, oh yeah, here we go. You know what I mean? Another song off here, the lead single, Stay at Home DJ, I thought was very post-pandemic-esque. I just, the whole idea of a stay-at-home DJ is of course, that came from the quarantines. Club People, carries that same energy very well. One of my favorite songs off of here, too, is Nobody's Woman. That's one of the ones that I'm going to come back to again and again and again. All this album, flows very well copaesthetically. Particularly, one of the things I really enjoy is those saxophone solos on here. It just really captures that 80s jazz vibe I think he was going for. I love that song, Big Night of Heartache. That's another slow jam where you could just float away to that one and just, have a bad breakup or have a date that goes wrong and play that song. And one of the last songs I have to mention to you is The Island Years. Every time this song comes on in my car, I'm turning it way up because it just reminds me of the sun setting on, a scene out of Super Mario Sunshine where the sun is just setting. You're looking at a beautiful sunset over a beach, and you just hear Alan's voice, singing this love song. It's just, my God. I love this album. I truly did. And this is a candidate in my book, at least, for album of the year. There's so much richness, there's so much culture, there's so much nostalgia, and I think there's a lot of influence here within every bite of this album. You gotta listen to this one, man. World of Hassle was creme de la creme. If you're into 80s nostalgia, if you're into vaporwave, jazz, funk, Spanish music, what do you guys think of Alan Palomo, World of Hassle? Let me know in the comments.